Hi, James Proctor here, Managing Director of the Intech Group, and the topic of today's video is cost optimization, 3 essential strategies. Now, in today's fast-moving, rapidly changing, highly competitive business environment, high levels of effectiveness, efficiency, and agility are absolutely essential to the success in this particular environment. And cost optimization really is a key component of efficiency. Now, I have a companion video to this particular video called Efficiency versus Cost Reduction. Now, in that particular video, I make important distinctions between effectiveness and efficiency, between efficiency and cost reduction or cost cutting, and between cost cutting and cost optimization. Now, that particular video, it's an excellent video, and it'll provide you with additional background and context to get full value out of this particular video. But by no means is that particular video a prerequisite to this particular video. Just watching this video standalone, it's a standalone video, and you'll get tremendous value out of it as well. Okay, so getting back to our core topic here of cost reduction, or cost optimization really, and our 3 core strategies I want to talk about. I first want to define the concept of cost optimization. Now, I'm going to use the definition put forth by the Gartner Group. Gartner does a very good job they do a lot of research in a lot of disciplines, and they're usually kind of a thought leader in different areas, and they do have an excellent definition of cost optimization. So let me just read their definition to you. So let me just read it directly so I get it right. Cost optimization is a business-focused, continuous discipline to drive spending and cost reduction while maximizing business value. Now, I think that's an excellent definition, particularly because it aligns with all the ways I talk about cost reduction and cost optimization and these kinds of things. So in other words, cost optimization is really about eliminating non-value added costs, right, that organization incurs without impacting operational effectiveness, customer value, and these kinds of things. Now, cost optimization doesn't mean indiscriminate cost cutting. Now, in the companion video to this, I talk about strategic cost reduction and I talk about tactical cost reduction. But indiscriminate cost reduction is really about just what it says, indiscriminately cutting costs in the organization. We see something, we think we're spending too much money here, too much money there. We just indiscriminately cut that cost without really looking at its impact on the organization. We're not aligning it with strategy. We're not aligning it with levels of effectiveness. We're not looking at it from a tactical or strategic standpoint. We're just cutting costs, which really leads to sub-optimization. And what I mean by that is the costs that you're cutting will probably lower the value of your products or services from a customer perspective more so than the costs that you're reducing. Now, if you want to take it to the absurd level, if you really want to really cut costs, you can just shut down the organization, right? And you'll really be cutting costs, right? But that's not a particular long-term strategy for value creation, for sure. So what we're not talking about here is indiscriminate cost cutting. What I'm going to give you in this video is 3 strategies, right? 3 specific strategies for reducing or cutting costs that speak to strategic cost reduction and or tactical cost reductions as well. Okay, with that as context, the focus of this video is on 3 cost optimization strategies: eliminate, automate, or delegate. Now, to provide some additional context for this video, let's talk about the concept of a business process. A business process, really simply defined, is a sequence of work activities and workflows that result in outputs, goods and services for customers, internal or external customers. Now, those work activities and workflows are performed in accordance with some set of business rules, policies, procedures, these kinds of things. Those can be formal or informal as well, and they're executed by people and or technology in the workflow. So eliminate, automate, and delegate are 3 essential cost optimization strategies in connection with business process. Now, there are many cost optimization strategies, but those 3, eliminate, automate, and delegate are really three core essential strategies that I want to put forth here. All right, now think of strategy as the things we need to do, and tactics are the ways in which we need to achieve those particular strategies. So what we're going to present here is those three important strategies, all right, and the tactics that go along with that. And there are multiple tactics for achieving any particular strategy. Okay, well, let's move forward with the discussion of eliminate, automate, and delegate. The first cost optimization strategy is eliminate. And eliminate's it's a great strategy because it's really pretty straightforward. It's really what I call the low-hanging fruit of cost optimization. Now, I posted it's actually a blog and a white paper. It's called the 5 Essential Business Analysis Questions. And question number 2 in that 5 essential business analysis questions framework is we're really asking the business question to our subject matter experts. What are the kinds of things that you're doing that you don't need to be doing and you just need to stop doing, right? Now, it's a very simple question, but it has huge ramifications. Because if you ask that question to your subject matter experts, just stand back and listen. They'll tell you, they'll say, man, this thing I'm doing here, we've been doing it this way for, the last 8 or 10 years, and there's no really business driver for doing it. I don't know, but it adds, work and nobody uses it. And they'll just listen to the kinds of things they say. Believe me, they'll tell you all the kinds of things that they think that they're doing that they don't think they need to be doing going forward, and we should just stop doing. Right? If I stop doing it, we're streamlining the process, the procedure, the policies surrounding it, right? And we get more productivity now out of that. So ask those subject matter experts, and they're going to love you for it because all of a sudden you're starting to make friends with those subject matter experts. But you still got to do the work because they're going to, believe me, they will identify all kinds of opportunities to take a look at. But those are opportunities, right, to stop doing the kind of things that they don't think they need to be doing. But you still have to do a little bit of analysis. Just look at what it is, look at where it is in the workflow, determine that, yes, indeed, there's no value add to this particular policy or this particular procedural step or something like that. So just, validate that that's true. And I'd say about 90% of the time, what the business subject expert has identified for you is indeed something that doesn't add any value. So that's step 1, just identify it. Step 2 is to analyze it. Step 3, the subject matter experts just can't unilaterally stop doing it, right? Because it's kind of already formally or informally part of the process, the procedure, something like that. So as a business analyst, it's our job then to make the case. We build a business case for it. What happens if we stop doing it? What's the impact? What's the cost savings? All these kinds of things. And you don't have to go too far up the organizational stack, first line supervisor, manager, something like that. And most of the time, they're going to go, man, I didn't realize we're doing that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's stop doing it, okay? Now, sometimes you have to go a little deeper and have the explanation, but most of the time, it's pretty straightforward. So you've built your business case. You get essentially sign off from the manager. So you just have to change the policy, the procedure, get that re-implemented into the workflow, and there you go. You really start making friends with your subject matter experts. In the show notes, the couple blogs I'd also like you to take a look at, or blog posts, I should say, is Lean, getting early wins from BPR. So there's some additional tactics in there to look at. And also, let's see, I've got one, let me just read here. Listen here. Yeah. Uncovering the difference between, we talked about business cases and use cases. Yeah. So both of those are in the show notes below. All right. So that was strategy number 1. Eliminate things that we're doing, but we don't need to continue doing. The second cost automation strategy is automate. Now, we just talked about the concept of eliminate. And the important concept I want to make here is eliminating, right? Talking about looking at things that we're currently doing that we don't need to be doing, let's just stop doing. That was eliminate, right? Because we want to do that first because it doesn't make a lot of sense to automate something that we can just eliminate. I see it happen all the time, right? But before we automate it, let's eliminate it. Okay. Now, so how do I identify opportunities to automate? What makes a good candidate really for automating at the work activity level? Well, really, there's 4 criteria. It's currently manual work. Obviously, you're currently doing it manually in some way. It's rules-based mechanical work, right? You can really distill it down to a very tight procedure. It's structured. It follows a procedural kind of framework, right? And it's repetitive in nature. Well, we do this and we do it again and we do it again. And we grab another one and we do it again. These kinds of things. So if it follows that particular format, it currently involves manual work. It's rules-based. It's structured. It follows a procedure, and it's repetitive. It's probably a pretty good candidate to at least take a look at for automation opportunities. All right. Now, the predominant tool these days for automating work activities of business process, automating procedures of these kinds of things, is robotic process automation, sometimes called intelligent process automation. There's a whole range of tools that support that, very excellent tools. Some tools supported at the business end user level, right? It basically is mimicking, well, RPA kind of mimics what somebody would do doing a procedure, and the RPA just follows that. There's some tools that are a little more sophisticated and they automate procedures and workflows, requires a little bit more information technology specialist support. But regardless, robotic process automation it's a very established field, very growing field, a lot of opportunities for cost optimization, cost reduction through robotic process automation. Hey, by the way, if you like this video, please just take a second and hit the like and subscribe button below. This ensures that the algorithm will pick that up, and it will help ensure that it continues to serve you the kind of content that you find valuable. Also, feel free to leave a comment. If you like something in the video, feel free to let me know. That really helps. If there's something that you didn't like in the video or something you disagreed with, let me know as well. Both of those give me a great insight to think about the way people are thinking about things, and it helps me create the best possible content I can for you. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the main show here. Okay. The third optimization strategy is to delegate. Now, in my book, Mastering Business Chaos, I coined the term splitting the atom of work activities. Now, what that means is we can look at any work activity in any business process workflow and at any layer of the organization, and we can really deconstruct that work activity into two components: knowledge and judgment-based work and rules-based work. Now, in the section on automate, we essentially talked about rules-based work. Right? If it fits that concept, if it's rules-based, it's mechanical, we can distill it down to a procedure, and it's repetitive, it's a good candidate for automation. Now, in many cases, before we move to automation, let's talk about the concept of delegation. Now, at every level of the organization, there's rules-based knowledge and judgment and rules-based kind of mechanical work. Now, as we move more to the tactical layer of the organization, kind of the hands-on kind of work, we're going to find more opportunity we're going to find a higher proportion of work activities of rules-based mechanical work, which are suitable for automation. But again, I would probably first take the first step, unless you're already deep in the world of robotic process automation. But if you're not there yet, I would take those work activities that have high proportion of mechanical rules, manual mechanical rules-based work, and just distill it into a tight procedure. If once we get into a tight, repeatable procedure, we can delegate that work, maybe one layer down in the organization or a piece of that down. So now that frees up that person that's doing that work to develop more knowledge and judgment-based skills, right? As we move higher and higher in the organizational hierarchy, if you will, there's a shift from work activities being predominantly mechanical rules-based, so they start moving to more knowledge and judgment-based, and then into primarily decision-based kind of work activities. But regardless, all along the way, there's going to be some portion of it is mechanical and rules-based, and some is going to be knowledge and judgment-based. So let's kind of go back, let's kind of move our way up to the top now. We're in kind of a leadership role, a decision-making role. So somebody's, the majority of the work they do is maybe knowledge and judgment-based, rules-based work. Now, what we can do with that is we can't necessarily automate it, although RPA is even pushing into that with AI kinds of things. But primarily, what we can still do and get tremendous lift for it right now in the moment is we distill that decision-making into best practices, the kind of work that's being done at that level. It's not mechanical, it's not that mechanical rules based, it's knowledge and judgments based, and we can distill out best practices. And so we can say, well, under these circumstances and under these scenarios, here's the kind of way to approach this decision or that decision. Now, applying that strategy, and I've done it many times across many organizations, what that allows us to do is delegate some proportion, maybe 30, 40, 50, even as much as 70% of the decision-making kind of work and the knowledge and judgment-based work down a level or two by providing best practice guidance. Now, that person a level or two down still have to look at it, look at the best practices, make some knowledge and judgment-based work, but they're applying those best practices. And if they get stuck on something, right, or they're not comfortable making, they can delegate it back up, but maybe only 20% of the things rise up, and the best practices account for 60, 70, 80% of the work they need to do. Now, in addition to making the organization more effective and efficient, for that primary decision maker, right, it frees up more time to work on the more difficult, challenging kind of decisions, right? But also that next level down, while they're working on best practice guidance, it's really developmental. They start getting a chance to start making decisions and think about decisions and collaborate maybe with the primary decision maker. And so it's really a win-win through the entire activity stack in the organization. All right, so that's the concept of delegate. Very powerful. Okay, in this video, I provided you with three essential or three core cost optimization strategies. Eliminate, automate, and delegate. These three core essential strategies will quickly provide significant business value to your organization. I would also encourage you to maybe implement and master these three strategies first before moving forward with some more advanced strategies. And there's plenty of other strategies as well, but these three are really core and essential, and you get a lot of lift quickly. I'd also encourage you to take a look at my recent white paper, Cost Optimization 10 Best Practices, and it creates a whole kind of framework for thinking about cost optimization. Okay, James Proctor signing off. See you in the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.